of all, congratulations,
Thank
Diamond
you.
Bank, the first Nigerian company to be appointed advisor, a foreign advisor to WEF. How does that make you feel?
I think it's exciting for us in Diamond Bank, but I think it just validates what we're trying to do in the financial space, and also it's a plus for banking in Nigeria, and it gives us the voice, and beyond just talking about FX issues, we can now talk about what we're really doing in the Nigerian space to help grow and play a role in growing the economy. No
doubt, very important, very positive. Now let's start with this year's theme, creating a shared future in a fractured world. How does that speak to you? In what way does that speak to you?
Well, I think it's a big statement. What I take from it is, how do we have common values and common systems to enable us create growth from a skills perspective? Because I think if you have different standards in different areas, what you will find is continuous inequality, and then the migration to, should I say, safer places that enable growth. So if we can provide that common platform, then I think it helps people communicate and also interface together to grow regions.
I was looking at the WEF website today, looking at, the agenda, previous WEFs from previous years, and I was looking at one of the statements for this year, which says that, let me quote it now, our collective inability to secure inclusive growth and preserve our scarce resources puts multiple global systems at risk simultaneously. Now, I cast my mind back to the previous WEF, and the message is still the same. Global inclusive growth, bringing people out of poverty, creating jobs, of course, promoting entrepreneurship. I mean, the jobs are difficult for today, but so entrepreneurship, that is the key. So I'm just thinking, have we made any progress?
I think we're making progress, but especially from a Nigerian perspective, I think we're making progress, but it's growing at a very slow pace. For a country like Nigeria, it needs to grow. So like GDP needs to grow at about 7-8%, and not the 2 or 3 that we are seeing. We have a lot of innovation that will enable growth, but what we haven't done is bring them together from a stakeholder perspective so that we can actually scale that. An example of that is payments. There are many innovative payment systems in Nigeria, but we haven't agreed a common standard that will now enable innovators to actually build systems around that to actually create growth.
Speaking about innovation and growth, I know that you're also, as the CEO of Diamond Bank, you'll be speaking at one of the sessions, and you're going to be focusing on financial inclusion, innovations that we're seeing, especially in the financial sector here in Nigeria, and you'll be focusing on financial inclusion, particularly for women. Tell us about that.
No, I think for us, our strategy has been, how can we reach more Nigerians? How can we provide our services in a very cost-effective manner? And I think the decision we came to about 3 years ago was that we really have to use technology to do that. And then we also have to go beyond banking. And so we mean that you cannot use the banking philosophy to do that. You now have to, first of all, use technology, bring in new partners, and go to and take banking and banking services to people, and also other things that enables banking. So, for example, why women are very important in society. Women have an extensive value chain, and they're the decision makers. And so, for use to
and has that been scientifically proven?
Well,
I'm just joking.
No, well, we have. I think, and the beauty about technology allows you to collect data. So even if I take, for example, our where we have had success in parity, we have our team products. 50% are actually women, and you find that the propensity to save is higher in the women. The propensity to do direct debit so that they can commit to future savings is women. So you find that they play a role. They play a very important business role, and they are also 50% of the population. So it's important to come up with an enabling environment for them, so that you actually don't lose half of the market, half of your potential market.
I know that you're also going to be speaking about innovation, how data tech is also transforming the financial services space, even with financial inclusion. Tell us how, and I know that Diamond Bank, you're also in the forefront of that, and you're going to be focusing on a city like Lagos. And I think it would be great to showcase Lagos in that light, the tech hub, all those clusters of cells that we have, with tech. Tell us about that.
And I think that's what I was talking about previously. There's so many things happening in Lagos, but we're not telling the story well. And I think that's what the platforms like WEF and Tech Fest, which we're going to be doing in a couple of months' time, is doing. Lagos is the only place, for example, where at a weekend I can actually use my mobile phone and go around, shop, pay for services, withdraw cash from the ATM, and I don't even need my debit card because you can do that through the phone. It's also because of the innovation, you can, even without data, you can use USSD to go to the market. So NIBS has come out with things like Mcash and Mcash, which it's a very cost-effective way to make payments to people, to merchants, and to small businesses without them actually having to acquire very expensive POS machines. So those are the things that we know that if we actually deploy and execute into the market and come up with working with the regulators, come up with a great framework, you will see rapid adoption. And rapid adoption now comes with commerce. And commerce, these are things that actually now lift GDP and gives also banks the confidence. Now that the transactions are moving from cash to electronic, we can see that information and we can now take better lending decisions, not just financial, but non-financial decisions, because we can see that information and in a very cost-effective manner. Okay,
I mean, with all that tech, all that innovation going on, let me ask you this. Do you think that Nigeria is ready for the fourth industrial revolution?
Well, the future of Africa is digital, and also Nigeria is also at the forefront of that. And that is the only way that we're actually going to leapfrog, and that is the only way we're going to solve the unemployment issues, the growth issues, the education issues. Because you can't start building new universities, but you can also provide people with information through digital devices, and at a fraction of what it would cost to put people into classes, pay for transportation to do that. So that's how we have to start looking at how do we educate people, how do we employ people, how do we market. And so it's using, and we already have, what are the ingredients? We already have telecom, we already have effective penetration in most parts of Nigeria. We have good data coverage that is actually growing, and it's cost effective compared to other parts of Africa. So do that's theoretically one of the building blocks that you actually require, and you have a very intelligent workforce in Nigeria.
Because many times when we talk about this, we always talk about the fact that countries like Nigeria continue to play catch up with the West. Is that still a true interpretation?
I know that I can't go around London or any part. I don't know any place in Africa or even in Europe or even America I can walk around with my mobile phone and pay for services or transfer money to people. We just have, so the infrastructure is already there. The knowledge is already there, how to use it. So we do more mobile payments than most other climates. So we're very comfortable with that. And and the future of payment, the future of services is actually in the palm of people's hands.